Okay. I've watched enough movies. I've watched enough YouTube videos. And I'm still scared. Don't freak out. Dude, don't freak out. Okay. It's the matter of once you take off. Okay. Once you take off this iron cage. Here we go. It's just a little wiggle, baby. Nice. Okay. Spritz, rim, drop it. That's a cold open. Welcome back to Texas Tiger Tavern, the show that demystifies the world of drinking and hopefully shows you something new to drink. I'm your host, Genny. Today we are joined in the studio with Philip.
Hello. I'm back again.
Yes, he at this point has earned co-host status, along with another one that is not here to join us today. Anyways, today we are joined, we are doing the drink champagne. Now, I thought that champagne is just so basic and it's used as a topper, like a seltzer, that it needs more than one drink to really show the variety that it could have. Right now in our hands, we have a French 75. And later on in the episode, we will have the Ritz cocktail, which will have a little something different. But nonetheless, let's start the show off right. First sip. French 75. Pretty dry, but the gin is not overpowering. Phil, you haven't said anything. What are your thoughts?
It's pretty banging. It's pretty banging.
You scared me. You scared me. I was like, oh, he's going to spit it out.
No, it's nice and bubbly on the tongue. And then like once it goes down, it's very smooth and very refreshing.
It is. Originally, I had this. I had the French 75 set for a summer season, just because of that refreshingness. And this has gin in it, not only the champagne, but gin has a lot of florals, as we know. It can be overpowering depending on what type of gin you use. But I think the use of simple syrup in here is what's calming those botanicals down, to give room for those bubbles and the champagne flavors.
This is very nice.
I'm glad you like it.
This is a really good one.
To be transparent, I was making it. Phil, you were there. Obviously, This is not a surprise. Very transparent. I was making it, making the cocktail. It calls for you to stir the ingredients without the champagne to just get it cold. And when I was pouring it into our glasses, a fly had died in it. So we had to do it a second time, nonetheless. I left my door open these past few days because I've been making bacon, and you know how that goes. Smoked up the whole place, so I had to have the door open. So now there's critters in here.
Yeah, I was saying we're out in the country.
We're out in the sticks, man. I really can't help it. But like I said, I had the French 75 originally in the summer, but I knew that it's New Year's and we had to celebrate. We couldn't just go by and not acknowledge that a new year has passed and that with New Year's comes drinks because parties.
And what else is better?
What's New Year's than champagne?
Yeah.
When the ball drops, the weddings, I know there are weddings happening New Year's. There's always.
Always, absolutely.
Which are fantastic. But you just think New Year's, you think champagne. And with champagne becomes a lot of unknowing. Because champagne originally, to call things champagne, obviously everybody knows has come from a Champagne region in France. Mm-hmm. In its basic form, it is just sparkling wine. Because it's made from grapes, and depending on what type of grapes you use, you can call it one thing or the other.
Yeah.
You asked about what does brut mean. because in front of us we have, give that a try. Devalué. One thing I got, I can get the accent. Devalué, Brut. And Brut really means that while it is not the driest it could be, because extra dry is called Brut Natural, where there is little to no sugar in this, added on, obviously, from the grapes. But with Brut, the most popular of champagne, there are typically 12 grams of added sugar per liter. And that's just with it being the second driest of them all. And obviously we put simple syrup in here too, so I really felt that it was, sweet, flavorful in the first half, and then once it went down, that aftertaste was a little, not bitter, but it was dry. Because you know how I am with wines, and regular wines, I'm not the most open to. That's one thing that'll be the last thing I'll ever get into is wines.
It's okay, I'm going to get a list of really good stuff. Some of my best wines. I'll get you to try those.
I'm down. I'm always trying down new things. You always let me use you as a guinea pig as well, so I'm always down to.
This is really good. Like if I'd go to the bar and order this.
This is very popular. First of all, in Louisiana being a brunch state, this is very popular. You can walk into an oyster bar. You can anywhere. Any fancy place, any breakfast place, anywhere that they serve mimosas, they're going to have a French 75, which is good because if you end up liking it, you try it at home, this is always a go-to classic that you can always find at any restaurant, any bar. There was a point in life where I just kept seeing French 75s.
I've definitely seen it on a ton of menus. And I've just never tried it.
There was just one day me and Matthew were out and we tried a French 75 and then we just kept seeing it. French 75 on TV, on restaurants, as a special. French 75s. Matthew would go out of state and he'd snap me. French 75? And I'm like, oh my gosh, relax.
Shout out to Matthew in today's podcast. We love Matthew.
Unsung. Genuinely, anywhere they serve mimosas, because mimosas are champagne and fruit juice.
Yeah.
This is just a nice elevated way, because it looks exactly like white wine.
Yes, it does.
Depending on where you go, you can get it in the white wine glass, which I read that white wine glasses are better. White wine or coupe glasses are better than champagne flutes for champagne cocktails. Because you can get the full aromas.
Yeah, I was just going to say you can smell it. And it smells so good.
It smells like an over fermented Capri Sun. Yeah.
Oh my god. I can't unsmell that now.
Like it when Capri Sun has a healthy version, like the sugar free or something. I think it first of all smells like that. But I know that there's alcohol in it. Matter of fact, there is 11 to 13% alcohol volume in champagne.
I'm not surprised.
This one right here in front of us, 12%.
Boom.
What do we call it? Valley?
Death Valley.
In front of us, Death Valley. It says it has a long-lasting standing relationship with wine growers in the Loire Valley, where they select the very best quality fruit to make their wines. The mild climate and the clay soil are ideal for the Crémant de Bourgogne grapes. Grapes are hand-harvested around the second fermentation in the bottle. Oh, I also heard about this is that while, fermentation, it's a many step process. Mm-hmm. But the first fermentation, nothing crazy about it. But the second fermentation is where they add the sugar, and is where they could go variety of either fermenting in the bottle in cellars for minimum 15 months or up to 3-5 years, depending on who you're buying from. But the second fermentation is always the most important. So after the second fermentation, in bottle, the wine ages for a minimum of 12 months on the lees, L-E-E-S, with a combination of racy acidity, minerality that grips, and a long creamy finish. Enjoy the poultry dishes and the fresh white fish. Enjoy with. Did I say with? Yeah, I didn't say with. Without the with, it made it sound like it was in there, huh? That was me. That was my fault. But this is a product of France. This is technically still not champagne. It's still considered sparkling wine.
It's not from the Champagne region.
Because it's not from the Champagne region. While the grapes could be handpicked from the Champagne region. It just, the process of fermentation and the hard work
did not occur there, so therefore it's not.
I'm sure, me imagining the Champagne region is brick to brick. Everybody's crammed trying to be in this one region so their stuff can be called champagne, right? Is that how you imagine it? That's how I imagine it.
I see cottage in the meadow with the wooden fence. The barn fence.
Yeah, white picket fences.
No, not even
just the
just like the slats.
Yes, so the cows don't get out, the grapes don't leave. Yes, I do. I know exactly what you're talking about. But think about how many there might be of those. That's what I'm saying. How big is this region?
I feel like this is the biggest region in France. They're currently trying to get more land and get rid of other regions.
Yes. They're we need to expand. I didn't get to read the rest of my other article of why champagne was so expensive. Normal champagne was so expensive. I still have to make another drink, so maybe I'll find out.
I think it's importing and exporting of the goods.
Oh, for sure. But this is a product of France, and this was $16.
Yeah, but that just probably means it's way cheap to make. And also, it's sparkling wine. Champagne from the Champagne region is expensive.
Yeah.
And it's not just, like I said, it's import and export. So they export it for a certain price, and then we put tariffs on outside goods.
Yes.
Very protective.
We're going to be using this same champagne, sparkling wine, in both cocktails. Like I said, this is a Brut. The palate opens up to flavors of pear, citrus, and brioche.
I get all of this.
I definitely get pear. Because with pear, prickly pears?
Yeah,
you'd call
pears.
It prickly pears.
Prickly pears, basically.
I taste the pear. While it is moist, sweet, I still feel like it is dry. It's not the same consistency of biting into an apple.
No, not at all.
Apples are sweet, dang near almost sour in the taste, but pear is pear I would consider dry.
I agree.
Even with the grittiness of a pear in general, Makes sense. Brioche, how do you taste brioche? Just to make sure, brioche, the bread.
I was just about to say, I'm thinking brioche bun. When you get a brioche bun, it's a nice crispness to it, usually, when you toast. But besides that, it's that sweet note. I get a note of sweetness.
I was going to tweet the other day that I'm obsessed with a nice brioche bun.
Yes.
One thing that it describes that champagne is a toasty almond. Do you find that? Well, while this is not cold-hearted champagne, that toastiness of that brioche, toasted, you did describe toasted brioche.
Yeah, it comes over very well. So even to say that this is just, sparkling wine, but it's still sparkling wine from France, and it's very obvious. Have you ever had a sparkling wine that's not from France? That's just...
This other one that we have, this Martini and Ross Asti, they are an Italian sparkling wine. I have not had them.
That'll be interesting.
But that is sweet. That is for sure sweet. While this Brut is still on the drier side.
I don't know. My favorite Italian wine is Chianti. So
I don't know who she is.
That's fine. They drink it a lot in the Golden Girls. It's a good segue to get into it.
This was not difficult to make at all. Like I said, you had to stir all the ingredients except for the carbonated ones, obviously. You can make this perfect on your first try. You can get this at the bar without hassling the bartender when they're busy to do this. Price of the cocktail, $8, $9. Something I don't like about it, nothing. I don't hate it. Like, there's nothing to not like. You got something?
No, my glass is pretty much empty.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty not disgruntled, but I try to stay away from drinks that ask for you to top with club soda or sparkling soda, like sparkling anything. Just because it's like, it just wants the bubbles, obviously. And to top things off is not that much liquid in the first place. And that liquid varies depending on what cup you use. You know what I'm saying? If we were to use a champagne flute, if we were to use a coupe, the amount that we would top would be different.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time, the champagne glasses are it's much skinnier.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, this allows you to get the aroma better.
You can get your whole nose in there.
I think it just makes it more attractive, though, as a drink as well.
Yeah. I think it's not intimidating.
No, not at all.
Because I feel like, while not fully, because I know I'm not scared of nobody, but I think seeing a drink in a nice champagne flute could be intimidating. And depending on what it's garnished with, could definitely feel too fancy. While this is like, could be mistaken for white wine. This altogether, I used Miles London Dry Gin, which is actually under the Sazerac name. Of course, everything Sazerac House, it always comes back to the Sazerac House. But it's actually made in Kentucky. London Dry Gin is a type, it's just like a category, like Brut. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The umbrella of gin. But I like this gin better than some others that are more herbal forward. This Miles London Dry Gin was $13. I got it at Rouse's a long time ago, a couple months ago. It has juniper, it has citrus from the lemon zest, and heat from pine wood. Wet basil. This drink is very smooth enough to be had alone or added as a delicious kick to your favorite mixed drink. I definitely consider this gin to be a mixer gin, while I would never have gin on its own, or with a tonic. That would never be me. I think that this gin is not too forward to overpower anything that it's not the main character in.
I agree, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If this was a gin cocktail, I would want something, forward, obviously. But this is silent enough, but still complements this cocktail because we are already using lemon juice with a lemon zest, a lemon twist. And the heat from the pine wood, while I'm not used to, but I'm familiar with rye whiskeys, that this pine wood is nothing compared.
You know what this makes me think of? This is like it's like a lemon drop.
A lemon drop of bubbles?
Bubbly lemon drop, yeah.
Yeah. Lemon drop's vodka, huh?
But I was just about to say, this is much more friendly than a lemon drop.
lemon drops are something I know. Lemon drops more in a shots matter than in a
cocktail.
Well, I know the lemon drop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know the lemon drop, just like a martini in a sense.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Yeah, but the main character is the lemon in that cocktail. You know, if I wanted a gin and tonic, I'm gonna invest in a good gin that is forward in the things that I want, whether it be juniper, whether it be more citrus, whether it be more herbs, whether it be more heat. I would invest in that type of gin, while this Miles gin is strictly a mixer.
Strictly, yeah.
And it's a great supporting actor, if I have to say so myself.
Yeah, this was great.
Nice. What do you say we get to cocktail number 2?
Cocktail number 2.
That's going to be the Ritz cocktail. All right, BRB. Okay, we are back with our second cocktail of the episode. Now, we usually don't do two cocktails in one, but I think both of these cocktails are easy enough to really move and go.
I agree. They're very quick when you make them.
Compared to, well, I think because the other ones, usually call for shake and muddle and smack of this and rim that and do. But this was just pour, stir, strain, top of champagne.
Done.
Dunzo. And so this Ritz cocktail, compared to the first one, the French 75, is made with cognac. So the color is now on the green bronzer side, on the lemon drop side.
I agree. Full on lemon drop.
While the French 75 was clear as can be, very mimic to white wine, this Ritz has a little color to it. And didn't ask for a garnish, but obviously you could garnish with a lemon peel, obviously. Still in the wine glass, washed out, frosted. Ready?
Let's give it a go.
Cocktail number 2 of the pod.
Okay, I think this one is actually very different.
I agree.
So the first one is definitely a lot lighter, I find. This one's a little bit heavier.
This one's heavier. This one also called for Maraschino Liqueur and orange curacao, which is an orange liqueur, and cognac. So I definitely agree that the cognac is giving something different than the gin is giving, for sure.
Most definitely.
This is, like you're saying, is... Did you describe it as heavy?
Yeah, this one's heavier. Not heavy like a beer, like a lager, but definitely for a wine, this is much heavier. So like just in the sense of like even the bubbles, it's different. I'm getting like a whole different feel when this is like in my mouth. Like, it's not, the first one's kind of like bubbly, like kind of like when you drink a Sprite and you go,
yeah, yes, for sure.
This is more like, ooh. Like it's kind of like drawing you in.
Now, don't read me for this, but dare I say masculine?
Very.
Yeah.
Very.
Like, I know it's fruity from the cherries and the orange, but those two together with the cognac,
yes,
it, like you're saying, it feels heavier.
The cognac is a game changer.
Yeah, it changes it a lot.
Like, I think the flavor profile has changed significantly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and even the smell.
Yeah.
I think partially because of the lemon.
No, lemon was in both.
No, like the
lemon peel. Yeah, this one does not have a garnish or lemon peel in it.
But I mean, that's a small adjustment.
And there's still lemon in the cocktail. I definitely agree. It changes the profile in a surprisingly non-fruity manner.
Yeah, this is almost reminiscent of your very typical whiskey sour. This gives me a bubbly whiskey sour vibe.
You drop an egg in there? Yeah, I like you're saying, whiskey sours and a lot of other cocktails have dark liquors, brown liquors in it, and it still can be light and I don't want to say fruitful, but zesty aroma, like can be light. And this one's taking the opposite track of a white wine being mixed with cognac, which is, a wine in itself. It's made from grapes.
Yeah.
So that's...
If you're a wine drinker, think of going from almost like a nice dessert wine, like a Moscato, which is something that's, much more fruity, generally much more fruity and flavorful. You get a lot of the traces of the apricot or apricot pear and the citrus in it. Think going from that to almost like a Sauvignon Blanc, which is, like very typical white wine. So this is very different in comparison. It's like going from Moscato, which is like a dessert wine,
Oh yeah, the French 75 is definitely. It feels like a breakfast. While this doesn't feel like a dessert, it does feel like a middle of the day. Like this, I wouldn't pair this with.
This is a little more
earthy, and to which comes masculine. Like,
yeah.
Like I think that is literally the masculine version of like what's going on.
I've taken 3 sips and no sip has tasted the same though.
You think the longer it sits?
I think it changes. And just from watching, you can see, the bubbles. Obviously, it's releasing a lot of the elements that were once in it since it's been mixed. So I would describe it as a flavor profile that's ever changing. The first sip was something very earthy and dark. And even now, it's still earthy and dark, but it's just like changing.
Yeah.
I like this. It's good.
Cognac is a form of brandy and is wine that's aged in oak barrels. So that's the earthiness that you're tasting.
May not have known that, but here we are. Pulling out the facts.
Yeah, and I mean both. I think for the fact that they are both French wines, but aged and fermented indirectly in 2 separate ways, is really throwing them off. And that's why they're like so different to me. I think those two, the cognac and the champagne sparkling wine, the Death Valley, is competing for spotlight. I think that's how I would describe it.
That's a great description.
Yeah, because now, like you're saying, no sip is the same. Maybe because I'm focused on the cognac more now, it just tastes different. But this is my first time using Maraschino Liqueur, which is basically Luxardo. Luxardo is about $36. I don't know if you've seen it before, but it's the bottom half is in this twill, and the cap is red, and it's a very popular liqueur. Okay, $36. But this Lazzarini Liqueur, they are about $10.
Okay.
I walked in. This was actually at
Cuban.
I haven't talked about them in a while.
Location change. Total Wine is in the mix now with points. I keep this up. I'm on the way to $5 coupon. I've only been to Total Wine once. I spent like almost $200.
Exactly. But I like to find. I'm still not in a number bracket where I'm willing to spend $36 on a liqueur that I use not that often.
Give it a few months.
Literally give me this time next year and quote me on it. And then also going with the cheaper option of orange curacao, dry curacao. I have an Royale Orange, which is an orange liqueur. taking the spot of a triple sec Curacao of an orange liqueur. And do I think that because they're cheaper versions, they are presenting different? No. At this point, we should be smelling a fruit salad with cherries, oranges, and grapes, pears, oak, toasted brioche.
Give it a swirl. So if you give it a swirl,
new smells come out.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
I love that it's kind of like ever changing.
I don't.
I like that you never get the same thing twice. It's kind of, it's very nice. We're very different drinkers.
We are, and I appreciate that. I mean, that's two different viewpoints on drinks that we need. While these are all common liquids, strong, huh?
I just got some heat.
That oak. While these are all common liquids that you could find behind any bar, I don't think many will know about a Ritz cocktail.
No.
You could point out to them and be like, hey, mix X, Y, and Z. Mix these three together. They might look at you crazy, but they'll do it for you depending on if it's a nice bar or not. No one's going to know about the Ritz cocktail.
Uncle Earls.
You think they'll know? Or you think they'll make it for you?
They'll make it for you.
Oh, yeah. I think
they'll make it for you. And they probably would make a damn good one just by eyeing it, which is spectacular.
If I were to do this different, and which also ties into something that I don't like, I would, instead of doing, this ties into one thing I would do different, and also one thing I don't like, is that instead of doing 3/4 of an ounce of cognac, I would dial it back to 1/2 ounce and add 1/4 ounce of simple syrup. Just to, I don't know, I like the fruit. I wish there were more fruity flavors in this. With the orange curacao, with the cherries, with the grapes. I wish I was saying this is literally a fruit salad. I wish I was saying that. The cognac is so forthcoming.
Yeah, it's so prevalent that it's... I don't think it's... I will not lie. I think it's aggressive.
Yes.
But I do not think it's too much. I like it. But I also believe that if there was a little more simple syrup, it would balance it out better.
Because there is no simple syrup.
Boom.
So adding it in general could dilute just the harshness of it. And hopefully make room for all these fruity flavors.
This is also tangy. It's sort of tart at times.
Yeah.
So that simple syrup would definitely balance out those flavors.
Oh yeah, it really would. I think I'll put that as an editor's
on the recipe. Yeah.
An editor's note on the recipe, yeah, for sure. That it's good. It is just different from the French 75. You know when people can describe things or people or like movies in colors?
Yes.
This, like, if I were to describe this, like, from French 75, I'm thinking yellows, blues, daytime,
very
white, green, very, like, brunch on the terrace.
Yeah.
And this is very...
Jenny said terrace, by the way, not terrorist.
I was thinking about it when I said it, too. I was like, terrace. While the cognac, while the Ritz is very brown, earthy green, very like, let's get business done. Nothing fun about. There's nothing fun about this.
I feel like this comes in a short glass, sort of like a
a coupe. And a rocks glass, old fashioned. So circular and short, right?
Yep.
Yeah, old fashioned glass.
That you would sit out on the porch of the cabin and drink. That is exactly how I would describe it.
And what I say, brown.
Yeah.
And green.
Yes. Very, very woods out in the forest.
Yeah.
Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods?
almost are. Speaking about out of the woods, the end of the year. You have any resolutions, goals, affirmations, thoughts? What are we bringing in the new year with?
So I don't do New Year's resolutions anymore.
I agree.
I think I stopped doing it last year. So I came into this year with no resolutions. I'm a huge goal setter. So I believe in setting goals, creating some plans, not necessarily following them to a T.
Of course.
But, creating a nice outline for what you want to do, how you want to make your moves. And personally, when I buy big moves so I just bought a house. Well, I think but it was like half a year ago now.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
Ew. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just bought a house. I'm single, but ready to mingle. That was so funny. But I want to become a 2-income household. So whether it's because I'm getting like another job and bringing in some more income, or whether it's because I find a significant other and they bring in some extra income. Doesn't really matter. That's my huge goal.
Yeah.
It's coming.
I think that is attainable. That is a smart...
Specific, measurable, attainable...
Repeatable.
Realistic.
Repeatable is science. That is science.
Time-based.
Mm-hmm.
Time-specific, as they say.
A year. That's the time frame.
Oh my God, Jenny, what about you? What are your resolutions?
Well, mine, like you, I don't believe in resolutions. I feel like resolutions are goals. Like, resolutions to resolve, right?
Right. I agree.
My goals this year are to be more prevalent into the podcast, to which will build upon my business ideas and start getting those off the ground. To which my one challenge is the 75 challenge, 75 hard challenge, whatever you want to call it, and to build my stamina and to just be a better me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to the gym I'm not specifically losing weight. I'm not specifically trying to read a single day. I want to get better and back into a momentum that I've lost and that I'm trying to rekindle so that I can grow in my podcast and business and dreams and aspirations. Basic things, which I will be there to witness. To be better on my podcast, I learn a lot every day that I do something wrong when recording the podcast, or it takes too long, or, I'm getting distracted. Doing things last minute. I want to be better about not doing those things.
Those are great. Those are some great goals.
I've thought about it.
Jenny said, I'm here to level up. Okay?
2022. I'm feeling 22.
Okay.
So I hope you've learned a lot from this episode of the podcast. Just to recap, the recipe for the French 75 is 1 ounce of gin, half an ounce of fresh lemon juice, half an ounce of simple syrup. Top with a Brut sparkling wine. Remember, not too sweet. And I think that's pretty important because it already has simple syrup in it, so you don't want anything too much. And garnish with a twist of lemon. For the Ritz cocktail, half an ounce of Cointreau or orange liqueur, 3/4 of an ounce of Cognac, 1/4 ounce of Maraschino Liqueur, 1/4 ounce of fresh lemon juice, and while it does say 1.5 ounces of champagne, I say top until you're happy with champagne, and in this case we used Brut champagne. While we could have used Martini and Ross Asti, A-S-T-I, which is a sweeter sparkling wine, and that might have changed the whole cocktail. We might not have wanted that extra simple syrup. if we would have already used a sweeter wine.
Oh my God. I'm literally just thinking about it now, and I'm like,
yeah,
literally.
I bought the two. I bought a Brut and I bought the sweeter wine just in case. I have about 3 more different cocktails, champagne cocktails that I can use that I most likely will post on our Instagram. So as always, if you're in the Anchor app, leave a message or a question. If not, make sure to follow us on Instagram at TX Tavern Talk. That is Texas Tavern Talk if you haven't already, where you can leave a question or a comment and see the drinks we have made thus far, especially the French 75 and the Ritz Cocktail, where the recipes will be all in one place. Thanks for listening to Tavern Talk with our drink of the day, French 75 and the Ritz Cocktail, with our co-host, Philip.
Goodbye, guys.
Watch out for next time where we will start getting into colder drinks because I hear a cold front is coming in.